E-Radio Theater presents Radio Arcade, Episode 4, The Deep End.
In our last episode, we left our hero Roy and his mother helpless in the clutches of a computer-simulated, ruthless terrorist assassin firing squad led by Roy's own father, Jack, a willing pawn in a video arcade out of control.
Don't kill us, please.
Go ahead and squeal, sister. I don't know anyone yet who's won an argument with a firing squad.
Jack, don't you recognize us?
It was no use. Dad was completely lost in the games. He really believed she was a gangster terrorist instead of a New Jersey insurance salesman.
I'd love to waste you myself, but I owe that pleasure to Fernandez here and his ruthless terrorist assassin firing squad.
All right, terrorist assassin firing squad.
So Mom and I prepared to meet our deaths in a hail of terrorist gunfire, with Dad just standing there laughing. And then the next thing I knew, I was here.
The next thing you knew, you were here? Do you really expect this story to believe a story like that?
I don't know. I just got here.
You just got here. So you have no memory whatsoever of anything that transpired between your confrontation with a ruthless terrorist assassin firing squad at Beirut International Airport and your presence in this courtroom as a defendant on trial for murder?
What? Murder? What do you mean, murder?
You have no memory of firing 6.45 caliber bullets at point-blank range into the man you claim was your father?
Dad? He's dead?
No further questions, Your Honor.
No, wait a minute.
Witness will stand down.
Well, hold on a second.
There! I say witness will stand down.
Let go of me.
I will now call as the final witness for the prosecution, the defendant's mother. Are you the defendant's mother?
Yes, but what's going on here?
And how long have you known the defendant?
Ever since he was born. I'm his mother.
And have you ever known him to act strangely?
What do you mean? Everyone acts strangely sometimes, but I don't see what...
And isn't it true that for the last year your son has been obsessed with one thing and one thing alone? The disappearance of his father?
Yes, but...
And is it not a fact that these problems became so disturbing that he was put under psychiatric supervision?
Well,
That he received large doses of psychoactive drugs? That in fact he received electric shock therapy?
Yes, but... Oh, Roy, I'm sorry.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Right then. The defendant is hereby found guilty of murder in the first degree. The sentence is death by beheading to be carried out immediately. If there are no further objections, bailiff.
Just a moment, Your Honor. As I understand it, I've just been convicted of killing the man I claim was my father.
That's exactly right. Bloody genius, isn't he?
Can the prosecution produce a witness that actually saw the alleged murder?
Well, I don't know, actually. Mr. Prosecutor.
That would be difficult because the only witness was the victim.
Well, can the prosecution produce the body of the alleged victim?
You can do that, can't you?
Well, no, not yet.
Can the prosecution, in fact, produce any evidence whatsoever that a crime was indeed committed?
Mr. Prosecutor, surely.
No murder weapon, no witness, no corpse, nothing?
No.
Would you both approach the bench, please?
Your Honor, I move this case be dismissed immediately.
That's a bit radical, don't you think?
A prosecution would be willing to consider a guilty plea in a lesser charge. How about second-degree homicide? 10 to 20 years, parole and fine.
Sounds reasonable. What do you say?
Homicide? What, are you kidding? How about an overdue parking ticket?
Manslaughter? Rape.
Speeding.
Breaking and entering.
Indecent exposure, and that is my final offer.
It's a deal.
Right then, indecent exposure it is. Sentence is 30 days suspended. Defendant is released into his mother's custody. Court adjourned.
Roy, this is absolute madness. These aren't video games. They're...
I know.
Well, thank God you got us out of there.
But we almost had him, Mom.
Almost had him? They almost had us. Roy, I think we should go.
Well, we can't just leave Dad here.
It's just too dangerous, Roy. Oh, Roy, don't look at me like that. I loved him as much as you did. All right, I didn't love him as much as you did, but I loved him. All right, I didn't love him, but I'm sure he had good qualities.
10 minutes, everybody.
Roy, look, we're getting out of here right now. We've already lost Jack, and I'm not going to risk losing you to these games or whatever they are.
But, Mom, wait. If they pull the plug, we'll never get Dad back.
That man is not your father anymore. He's not the Jack we knew. He didn't even recognize us.
Maybe we can still get through to him. Maybe we can still save him.
Roy, we only barely managed to save ourselves.
Then I guess it really is hopeless, isn't it?
I'm afraid so, son.
All right. Let's go home.
Wasn't it this way?
No, it's over here.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I think it's just around this corner. Oh, wow, I guess not. Oh, I know where we are.
Roy, this doesn't look familiar at all.
Wow. I can't even see the ceiling.
I think we should turn around.
Yeah.
Roy, this isn't right either. Where are we?
I think we're outside.
Well, there certainly isn't E Street.
Well, let's follow this stream. At least then we won't be walking around in circles.
Roy, look at the size of that fern. Are we still in the arcade?
I don't know.
What's that?
Hey, look over there.
What is it?
It looks like a train.
Oh, thank God. Maybe we'll get out of here.
Hey, wait a second. It's heading right this way.
What do?
Don't worry, Mom. It's just an illusion.
Roy, quick! In here! My God! What's next?
I don't know what's going on here, Mom, but it's really heavy.
What is this place? Is this another game?
Oh, no.
What?
This is Situation Room. It's the first game I ever played here. This is where it all started.
Oh, Roy, I'm scared.
The arcade's alive, Mom. It wants us to play. It led us here.
Roy, what are you saying?
This is it. Our last chance to get Dad back. The last game. The final battle. Got a quarter?
I certainly do not. We're getting out of here. I don't like it at all.
Well, where do you want to go? Back to the primordial forest?
Welcome back, Mr. President. Good to see you again.
Oh, my God! Let's get out of here! Oh, no. The door won't open. Roy, we're trapped.
Don't you see, Mom? We have to play this one out.
That's the spirit, Mr. President. Shall I begin your briefing?
No. I want to know what the emergency is.
Emergency, sir?
Roy, what are you doing?
What's going on in the Middle East?
Well, in the latest Israeli elections, the Labor Party...
No. Isn't there some kind of military crisis?
Nothing out of the ordinary.
No? Well, then what's the situation?
Well, sir, as I was about to tell you, the Soviet Premier is due to address the UN General Assembly about the delicate situation in North and South Yalta.
Yalta? Where the hell is that?
It's between a rock and a hard place. But seriously, sir, here's the Russian Premier now. Let's listen in, shall we?
Thank you, Mr. Secretary General.
It's he's the Russian premier.
Oh, man, this is going to be a bitch.
Hello, diplomats, learned colleagues, bureaucratic lackeys. I come before you today to denounce American imperialism.
How do we get to him?
We gotta talk to him.
That's pretty unlikely right now. Listen to him.
South Yalta, the people have risen up against the bondage and dominance of that corrupt tool of American interests, General Macho.
Jackson loves the Russian accent.
I know.
Keeping with our support for people's liberation struggles throughout the world, the Soviet people hereby recognize the popular puppet, the people's puppet, the communists as the only legitimate dictators of South Yalta.
Sir, South Yalta is our only ally in the region. This could lead to a serious situation.
We're in a serious situation. Oh, Roy, I'm sorry I ever doubted you. Jack's been a prisoner here all along. They're trying to keep us from him. They're trying to get us, too. Oh, right. If that's the way it is, let's give him hell.
Yeah.
Can't you call him or something?
Yeah, right. Call the Soviet premier on the phone.
Call the Soviet premier.
Call the Soviet premier.
Hey, Soviet Premier!
They think this is some kind of joke. We'll never get anywhere with these clowns in our staff. Give me that phone. I'll do it myself.
Hey, how can it be busy?
Guess it must be the party line. Mr. President?
They're just distracting us, Roy. Isn't there a hotline or something?
Yeah. Give me the hotline to the Kremlin.
It's that bright red phone directly in front of you, sir.
Oh.
Thank you for calling the Kremlin. All our lines are busy right now, but please hold on for the first available apparatchik.
Oh, come on.
Roy, we're running out of time. We have to find some way to get to Jack.
Yeah. A summit. I want a summit with the Soviet premier right now.
You know what they say? If you laid every summit ever held, end to end, you still wouldn't have enough to reach an agreement.
Excuse me, sir. We have an urgent development.
Who are you?
Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, ma'am. Mr. President, the Communist North has just invaded South Yalta.
I don't care about Yalta. I want a summit with the Soviet premier right away.
Sir, the Russians are clearly behind the invasion. A summit now would be seen as a stamp of approval. Think of the upcoming election. Think of world opinion.
Damn world opinion. Think of our boys over there. We have a major military base in South Yalta that's about to come under attack.
None of this matters to us, Roy. Try for the summit anyway.
Yeah, she's right. I want a face-to-face meeting. Try all diplomatic channels.
All right, sir. But in the meantime, I suggest you convene the National Security Council.
Wait, but...
You've already met the chairman of the Joint Chiefs.
Sir.
And this is your National Security Advisor.
Mr. President, I urge you to authorize an immediate tactical nuclear strike.
No way.
Gene, as usual, you're overreacting. You're talking about first use, and surely even you...
It's the Pentagon's own war plan, General. If you military panty-wastes hadn't been so traumatized by Vietnam...
Just a minute. You professors always talk a hard line, but it's the military that has to hold it.
Knock it off, both of you. Now, what happened to my summit?
A summit is impossible. The Soviets have rebuffed all our approaches.
No.
Roy, what are we going to do? They're going to pull the plug any minute.
Sir, you must order war plan overkill immediately.
Wait a minute. What is this plan?
Well, sir, overkill was modeled on our plans for the defense of Western Europe. In the face of an overwhelming conventional invasion force, our only defense is the use of battlefield nuclear weapons.
Oh, no.
I'm not authorizing that. What's the situation over there?
Sir, enemy forces are within striking distance of our main base.
Their army includes Russian advisors, sir. Any direct conflict will involve the Soviets.
Mr. President, we can't afford to back down. If we show any weakness, there'll be no stopping them. The whole region will fall like a
house of cards?
No, it's right on the tip of my tongue.
Never mind. Can't we just retreat?
But, sir, we have to show our support for General Macho.
Doesn't the general have an army of his own?
Yes, but they have their hands full trying to put down the rebellion now.
Really?
What the hell's going on over there?
As usual, the Soviets are trying to export revolution.
Military intelligence has found no evidence of Soviet aid to the rebels. We believe it's a genuine popular movement inspired by Macho's corrupt regime and abominable human rights record. Why the abuses this week alone?
General, the issue here isn't human rights. It's the Soviet drive for world hegemony.
Mr. President, satellite surveillance shows the Soviet Fifth Fleet steaming towards Yalta.
Sir, the Russians have just gone to DEFCON 3.
What's that mean?
Defense Condition 3, sir. All their forces are on alert. We have to match them.
Roy, try to get Jeff.
We can't afford to be caught napping.
Okay, but try the hotline again.
Sir, the enemy troops are closing on our base. If we want to use the nukes, we have to do it now.
Sir, the Russians have just gone to DEFCON 2. This is our last warning.
Mr. President, the Russians are stalling on the hotline.
Tell them I want to discuss terms for an American evacuation of Yalta.
What?
You do?
Roy?
Mr. President, that would be an unprecedented demonstration of American weakness.
Sir, I have the Russian premier on the hotline.
Mr. President?
Mr. Premier, the American people do not want war.
Mr. President, nobody wants war.
You have invaded an independent nation.
No, our volunteers are assisting in a people's liberation struggle.
Your forces are about to attack an American base.
No, heroic freedom fighters are about to expel American occupation forces.
Oh, Roy, do something.
All right, listen. If I evacuate the American troops and abandon General Macho, will you halt the Russian advance?
What? Well,
Mr. President, are you out of your mind?
All I ask in exchange is a public pledge that you will hold fair elections and respect the principle of self-determination for the people of South Yalta.
Well, as you know, the Soviet Union is dedicated to the principle of self-determination.
Then it's agreed. You release a statement to the United Nations and I'll evacuate the American troops.
Sure, fine. Good deal.
Mr. President, this is tantamount to treason. I resign as National Security Advisor, effective immediately. You'll regret this.
You drive a lame bargain, Mr. President. It's been a pleasure doing business with you.
All right, General. Prepare to evacuate your men. But I want all arms, ammunition, and supplies given to the South Yalta rebels.
What? Oh, sir, they're our enemy.
Not anymore.
So that's it. They'll fight the Russians for us.
No, they'll fight the Russians for themselves. We need world opinion on our side, and we aren't going to get it by blowing up the planet.
No, I suppose not.
Call an emergency session of the UN General Assembly. I want to make my own address on the Yalta question.
Well, all right.
The ball's in the Soviet court now.
Not necessarily, Mr. President. We still have other options.
What do you mean? Who are you?
We'll call in the illegal mission forces and subvert the election.
No way!
That was a big mistake, Mr. Bond. Besides, the American plan to subvert the elections would have been fruitless. We've already cancelled that.
Evacuation hall.
Did you hear that, sir? The Russians canceled the election.
So much for your plan, Mr. President.
That was my plan.
Sir, the Russians have occupied South Yalta.
They have?
Yes. In fact, they just installed a puppet government.
They did?
Yes. And not only that, the rebels are so well armed, the Russians have to send in reinforcements. Was that part of your plan, Mr. President?
Yes. In fact, it's better than I even hoped.
What? It is?
But you forgot one thing. American public opinion has turned against you.
A question on everybody's mind. Have we bowed to Soviet strong-arm tactics? Have we really lost Macho?
And your former National Security Advisor is demanding that Congress impeach you.
He's not just a coward and a traitor. He checks every move he makes with his mother.
Wow, they're really mad now.
I know, but our only chance for a summit is world opinion. Now, what about that UN address?
Why, First Avenue and 42nd Street, sir.
The speech.
But the UN calendar is especially busy this week, and, well, you know.
Too bad. I'm going in anyway.
Sir, you can't just barge in like that.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Can I have your attention, please? As you all know, Russian troops have occupied South Yalta. They are violating an agreement they made with me. They are violating a pledge they made to you here at the UN. And most importantly, they are violating the wishes of the people of South Yalta. Now, I could denounce the Russians for their brutal foreign interventions, but I'm not here to cast the first stone. You all know that America has had its share of foreign adventures as well. I'm here to ask you to help me break the cycle of superpower conflict. I want to sit down with the Soviet premier himself to negotiate a mutual disengagement from all regional trouble spots, starting with South Yalta. It's time for all of us to stop preaching ideals while we practice power politics. I ask you to use your influence as world leaders to bring the Soviet premier to the bargaining table. Let us join together to make Yalta the last betrayal. The last time people's desire for self-determination is trashed by the superpowers.
But while the president was using world opinion to pressure the Soviets into a summit, a bill to impeach him was moving quickly through Congress. And so, for the president, it's a race against time. His only hope, a successful conclusion to the summit with the Soviet premier, now in progress behind closed doors.
That was skillful use of world public opinion, Mr. President.
Jack! Come home with us now, please!
Who is this woman? I'm the Soviet premier. Aren't I?
Of course you are.
Who are you?
I am the Soviet foreign minister.
If the Americans do not produce their proposal, we will return to Moscow immediately.
No, don't go. I've got one.
He doesn't recognize us. All he knows is what's in this stupid game.
That's it. All he knows is what's in the game.
The Americans obviously have no proposal. The Soviet delegation is leaving.
No. Listen to me. I know we have to follow the rules of diplomacy, Mr. Premier, but we have a mandate from the people of the world to change those rules.
Change the rules? No.
Yes. You and I, we're on the same side, Mr. Premier.
We are? No.
Yes. Our peoples are not that different. They all want peace and prosperity for themselves and their families. Perhaps you have a family yourself, Mr. Premier?
A family?
Yeah. A wife? A son, maybe?
Wife? Son?
Yes. No, the premier has no family. He's gay.
But he must have a home.
Hey.
Roy, look!
Speaking to you live from outside the arcade, where the order has finally come in for city marshals to pull the plug and shut down the arcade forever.
Roy, the door! It's opened! I'm gonna stop them from pulling that plug.
Mom, wait! That must be what the arcade wants.
It doesn't matter. Get Jack and get out, Roy. And hurry!
Move them back there. Let's shut this sucker down.
Wait! You can't! My son and husband are still in there!
What? You're crazy, lady. There's nobody in there. Besides, I got my orders. 4 o'clock on the nose, I pull this plug. That's 30 seconds from now.
Oh, no! I've got to go back for them.
You ain't going nowhere, miss. Lieutenant, hang on to this lady.
No! Let go of me! Oh, Jack! Roy!
Dad! Mr. Premier, do we have an agreement?
Mr. President, Congress is voting on the impeachment bill. It looks like it's all over.
Not yet, it's not. Mr. Premier!
He's right, sir. The press is calling for your resignation.
Oh, come on. I can still get him
They're calling the roll, sir. You're down to your last second.
Please, just a little more time.
I have won. You have lost.
No, you've lost. You've lost us, your family.
My family?
We still love you, Dad. We still need you. Dad, it's our only chance. Give me your hand and let's get out of here.
No. Mr. Premier, let's go.
I have responsibility.
Mr. Premier, please. I am the Soviet Premier.
No, you're not. You're my father. You're a goddamn insurance salesman.
I am?
Mr. Premier, it's an American trick.
It's not a trick. Dad, give me your hand.
Wait,
Dad, for God's sake, give me your hand.
3, 2, 1. That's it. Lieutenant, pull the plug.
No, wait, please! They're still in there!
Sorry, lady. Time's up. Let's do it.
No! No!
What's the matter, Lieutenant? I said pull the plug.
I just did, Marshal. It won't shut down.
Hey, look, someone's coming out of the arcade.
Oh, it's Jack and Roy!
Ruth! Darling.
Mom!
Oh, thank God you're both safe. Oh, Jack, do you remember anything?
No, nothing at all. But I feel as if I've done something terribly wrong.
Don't worry, Dad. It's all over now. We forgive you.
We're just glad to have you back, Jack.
Can we go home now, Mom?
Home. That sounds good.
We're safe. But what about you? There it is. The arcade. Bigger than life and completely out of control. We built it. It's our responsibility. I guess the only question now is, what the hell are we going to do with it?
You have been listening to The Deep End, the fourth and final episode of Radio Arcade. This series was made possible by grants from the National Endowment for the Arts, the New York State Council on the Arts, and the Plowshares Foundation. Radio Arcade is an E production. I'm Don Robbins.
Additional support for this program is provided by National Public Radio member stations and the NPR Arts and Performance Fund. Contributors include the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation and the Tandy Corporation. This is NPR, National Public Radio.